understand your frustration, Gaora, but do not rush to conclusions.
How are we doing, boys and girls? Good morning, good morning. Yes. Yes, it is Saturday. No, I did not shit the bed. Sneaking in a weekend stream to break up the streaks. Well, fortunately on Twitch now, streaks don't actually genuinely need to be kept. You can watch a VOD or 5 minutes of a VOD or something like that to maintain your streak, apparently. So I don't have to worry too much about breaking streaks. It has turned out to be something that I was not aware of. Well, I'm aware of, but I completely forgot. It's Independence Day in Finland today, which is lovely. It's lovely the country has independence. Don't let me get it wrong. But I had planned to do lots of shopping today, and turns out none of that's happening because all the shops are shut. So, well, fuck it. I'm going to sit indoors and chop some trees and make some lumber and, you know, chat with you guys. That's the play. That's the play. You say you got pistachio coffee. It's terrible. Tastes so unnatural. You've got, like, weird nut juice. Weird nut juice is what we call that. Oh, I've got outdated add-ons. That's also not too much of a surprise. Hang on. If that's the case, then let's fix that real fast. Today's going to be chill. I have absolutely no plans. This is completely impromptu. There was the strong possibility that I was just going to sit down and play some video games, you know, offline. But I thought, screw it, why the hell? Let's throw the stream up for a few hours. I have also, not that any of you will really care too much about this, I have been making some tweaks and some changes to my PC to hopefully drive a little bit more like a little bit more stability rather than performance. I've disabled all C states from my power supply because I have a sneaky suspicion that when the CPU, this is geek talk now, but I have a sneaky suspicion that when the CPU was pushing into deeper and deeper C states to save power, there came a point where it was just tripping and causing it to lose power and reset the PC. So I've disabled those. I've also told Twitch they can do all of their encoding themselves. I'm not doing it anymore. I don't want that extra workload for the sake of a 1440p stream. So you may notice the stream is now only 1080p. I'll reconsider doing some of the work for Twitch when they give me access to 4K, but until that, they can have a video feed and they can encode it. They can incur the performance hit of encoding it. I find it relatively cheeky that they try to offload all of the encoding onto the streamer themselves. Hopefully that will mean that my OBS is doing significantly less. My graphics card is then doing significantly less. It's now only going to be producing one encode, and it's going to be sending it to 2 places rather than producing 5 encodes and sending them all to 2 places. Hopefully might mean the stream is less likely to just F on us all the time because it's kind of annoying. Weird that it always crashes around 3 hours and 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah, I know. It is kind of frustrating how that happens. I don't know what it is, whether it's a cache or a buffer limit is hit at that point or something in the graphics card, and it's just like tripping it because it's causing... Like yesterday when we effed, I didn't blue screen or anything like that. Everything was working fine. My OBS just went, nope. And it actually both killed the Twitch and the YouTube stream. But yeah, there's absolutely 100% no overheating or anything like that going on. My PC is running very cool, very chill. I don't push it to its limits. This is the point, right? I'm not trying to drive super high fidelity gameplay. Now, of course, running multiple clients of WoW is probably not great, but that's more of a CPU thing than it is a GPU thing, or at least it should be. Weird nut juice, what the hell did I walk into? At least you didn't step into it. I have no idea what we're doing today. I'm going to leave things open to suggestions, really. I'm going to be brutally honest, I might just end up chilling today and fly around and pick up some lumber. I have, obviously, loads of decor that's not crafted and not listed for sale, which could be farmed up, crafted, sold, so on and so on. I actually think I have a bit of a shopping list of lumber to go and gather, and this is just for leatherworking and jewel crafting. 139 bamboo lumber, 60 coal wind lumber, 15 Dornick, 2 dragon pine, 59 fell touched, and 95 shadow moon lumber. I mean, that alone, that little shopping list alone will keep me busy for a couple of hours. So I haven't done the new campaign quest line. I want to max out lumber and decor crafting selling while it's hot. In my mind, the quest lines can wait. I mean, I would probably say that's a smart move. You know, the opportunities to make gold at this point in an expansion are so few and far between. I don't think it should be too easily dismissed in favour of doing other things, because, you know, it's a hot potato at the moment. It's a hot potato, and if there's opportunity to be had, take it. You can always go and tinker with other stuff, you know, in the run up to midnight. I'm half expecting Blizzard to make lumber tradable before midnight release. There was some, how should I say, some discourse in the Discord yesterday between myself and other creators talking about lumber, and how the consensus seems to be that the rates of which you pick up lumber are low, and people are directly relating that to why everything in the auction house is expensive. And I was trying to point out that, well,
let's make sweet,
no,
sweet profit
that's
together.
not necessarily how things work. Everything in the auction house is expensive because it's all brand spanking new. Give it a few days and let the downward pressure happen. If you're one of those players that must buy things on day one, you are always going to have to pay a heavy, heavy, heavy premium. Oh, Chris with a gifted sub. Thank you very much, my man. Appreciate that. Happy Saturday to you. Love that. Thank you. Hang on, that was a targeted giftaroo as well. That was a targeted giftaroo. Me wonders if they are in cahoots. Lumber is a bottleneck for sure. Remove that. And give it rare drops, diamonds, pearls, etc. That's interesting of a twist. If there were other materials than just lumber that you could get whilst lumbering, I hadn't really considered that. It's a good theory though, good idea. Lumber should cost maybe 3 to 4 times the value of an average node harvest, maybe 80 to 100 gold. It's currently far higher. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that the average price, and this is because, you know, people are using their TSM, and the only thing that they can do at the moment is put a hard-coded value in for lumber, to determine posting prices. And well, as long as people are still doing that, which is arguably the correct way to do it, you'll have the prices held relatively stable at a relatively healthy price for those people who are willing to do it. I often fight against the fact that there is a lot of negativity thrown towards farmers for going out and farming and then having high prices on the auction house. And I'm like, well, they're putting all the effort in at the expense of not doing anything else that the patch did to provide you with that stuff should you so choose to want it. If you don't want it, move on. Genuinely, if you don't want it, move on. Like, let somebody else take it. Or go farm it yourself. Like, I have nothing against farmers charging a heavy convenience tax at the beginning because everything's brand new. But yes, it does mean that once it starts to stack up, the pressure will start pushing the price down a bit. People will get to a point where they're being undercut further than their pricing allows, and they'll have to start deciding, well, am I happy to take a little bit less gold for my lumber? And then when they start taking a little bit less gold for their lumber, they might reconsider that, well, is it now worth me going and doing another hour of lumber farming if I now know that, you know, it's going to be worth less to me? And there comes a point where people just stop doing it. And that's where you get your balance point more often than not. Sold a few things, selling a few bits and pieces. Yeah, not huge amounts, to be totally honest. I am posting all this on Draenor though, so the competition's absolutely disgusting on this realm. I think if I was to go scout the Undermine Exchange, I would probably find Draenor to be one of the most populated servers for decor in the first place. So I'm peddling my wares in a very busy marketplace. But it still seems to indicate that a good percentage of what we got here is being posted at least 500 gold per lumber. There's a handful that are starting to dip below that value now. This weekend will be interesting to see just where stuff starts to sit, I think. I might want to do a little bit of tweaking with my TSM groups as well today. We're going to take a more casual approach to what we're doing. I think for the purpose of crafting, my auctioning profile for decor doesn't need to be particularly fancy at all. It needs to just simply post things and be competitive on price, and maybe take into consideration crafting cost, but not really much else. We just sold a chandelier for 20k though. Take that's a nice early sale. Very nice chandelier for 20k. But when it comes to the crafting profile, I think I actually want a different setup for crafting. I actually built out the groups with the mindset of, well, let's break it down into professions. But I actually think I want to break it down by the wood type, not the profession. The reason I want to do this is because if I go out and farm a bunch of wood, if I spend an hour or two farming a bunch of wood, then I want to easily queue up and craft all of the things that use that one wood. And at the moment, there's no way for me to do that other than to say, yeah, sure, try and craft one of everything. And then I have to then go back in and filter it, and it gets weird. So I might actually break it down by lumber type for the purpose of crafting. My TSM is still bugged, waiting for the TSM guys to fix it. Can post and cancel scan, but can't use the crafting window and restocking operations. Enchanting has a couple of items that are bugged. Alchemy also has a couple of items that are bugged. But so if you are trying to use restocking for those professions, you might have issues. You can just not just remove the bugged items from groups for now. And the rest of it will work fine. You can still craft those items, you just have to do it manually. If I'm assuming the error that you're having is the one that I stumbled across yesterday. That's a lumberjack at the moment, I agree. If you want it, you got to pay me the bank. Yeah, exactly. People in the first 3 days of Decor coming out, think about how many people who have spent 20 hours carefully handcrafting their perfect house. You've also got people who have spent 20 hours flying around picking up lumber to craft items to sell on the auction house so that everybody else can spend 20 hours crafting the perfect house. Like, when something new is launched, you are only one person. You have to choose what direction you go in. If you choose to go the route of farming up the materials to provide them to other people, you absolutely should be charging a premium for that, because you are physically doing that at the cost of doing another thing that you could be doing in the game. And so many people don't realize that about the economy in the game, that if they go off and they spend 20 hours trying to create the perfect house and spend absolutely zero time providing any value to the economy in the game, then when they come to buy something, they're going to find things are expensive. The frustration I see is that even this even comes from creators as well, is that I tend to see that only a week or two ago, people were complaining about the transmog costs at 800,000 gold being super duper mega high. And then 2 weeks later, people complaining that the price of everything in the auction house is too expensive. Well, here's a crazy ass fucking idea. How about you spend a couple of hours going and farming some stuff and take advantage of this gold rush at the moment with Decor? Then you'll make a bunch of gold. Then when you need to spend a bunch of gold, you'll have a bunch of gold. It's not rocket science. People seem to want both, though. They seem to want everything to be super duper mega cheap, and they also want to not have to contribute anything into the economy. But people forget there's that aspect of the game, and yeah, this is why I think a lot of the feedback that's thrown out is not necessarily that useful to Blizzard, because there's a fatal flaw to it when you break it down. Doing it manually, it doesn't matter what profession I'm open, it gives me the same error. I wish I could give you more. I wish I could give you more advice, but I don't. I when I have a major TSM issue, have to just go the nuclear approach. I did the nuclear approach at the beginning of. I think I went nuclear at the beginning of the War Within, where I just delete absolutely everything and start again. Now, luckily, over the years, I create groups and operations and stuff and have those separately stored elsewhere, because, of course, I actually go as far as to offer those out to supporters of the channel. And so I have copies of them which I can quickly import back in, saving an awful lot of the time and the effort. But that's usually the only way I can suggest doing it. Go nuclear, delete the entire thing, and just reinstall it and start from scratch. These are the same people that want me to do work orders for free. Well, quite possibly, yeah. Quite possibly. Yeah, it starts to get, you know, verging into politics to a degree, but it's kind of frustrating when so many people complain about the state of the economy, yet they are doing absolutely zero to aid within the economy. They are entirely expecting everything to be done for them and for them to be able to have access to it for free. And that's, you know, The economy is... I fight for the economy in WoW because I think it's fundamental to make the game actually... It's one of the last remaining things that makes the game feel like an MMO, rather than just a retail, Mythic Plus simulator. It genuinely does feel as if, okay, we need some people to do this, we need some people to do that, and if everybody does their part, then everything works. It's one of the last remaining things that is kind of really MMO-like about the game, when so much of it is gone so much of the game is so very... I mean, I call it, I call retail basically arcade mode these days. But it's, I don't know. We'll see what Blizzard does. What it will... I mean, the crash on decor prices will happen incredibly quickly if Blizzard does turn around and hotfix it so that, I don't know, 2 lumber drops more frequently and 3 drops occasionally, rather than it being like 80% of the time you get just a single piece of lumber. A hotfix like that will very quickly nuke decor prices. But I don't like it when they do things like that, because it then instantly, in one swoop, devalues all of the effort that everybody has put in to provide that decor and to farm that lumber up until that point. Which I think is just a bit, it's unfair on those that have actually gone out and spent the majority of their time farming the lumber to make some gold, rather than just tinkering in their own house and waiting for somebody else to do it. I'm still very pre-coffee. I can't even think what order we're doing things here. These crafted. I need like 15 knowledge points or something for leatherworking to actually finally finish it off for the whole expansion, which is why I'm still being meticulous with these when I'm on this tune. The lumber amount's fine. Just watch something on a second monitor, listen to music. It's chill. You make some nice profit out of doing it. What will happen when it's not worth it for people to farm the lumber? Well, there will always... The thing is that lumber... My suspicion is that lumber will eventually end up being a byproduct of just people regularly farming. The fact that you can easily fly around on a druid with herbalism and mining, pick up ore, pick up herbs. You will also then simultaneously be able to pick up lumber at the same time. Now, of course, in a mad rush like there is right now, where everybody is focusing on getting as much lumber as they can, because the demand for lumber is strong. But let's not forget that there'll come a point where the demand for that lumber weakens, and that will push the price down. But people will still collect the lumber by passively playing. It's slightly different in terms of the fact that you have to be in all of the different zones, so there will still be an element of for a lot of the lumber types where people will be making a deliberate trip out into the open world to go and get that lumber. That will be the one thing that like holds the price of lumber up at least a little bit. But players will just have to get more creative about what they can do within that 60-minute window to help pad their wallet, right? Picking up more stuff. At the moment, you're kind of actually doing it wrong if you're picking up herbs and ore at the same time. The value of lumber is so high right now that you're actually losing gold by picking up herbs and by picking up ore. Because the time you are spending picking up that stuff is time you're not spending picking up more lumber. So you're actually doing it wrong to pick up herbs and ore as well at the moment. But once the lumber price comes closer to 100 gold a piece, then you can start doing multitasking a little bit to make sure that you have a baseline gold per hour in just raw materials that you know will just sell like within seconds. And the lumber just comes along with it. What would you recommend to somebody who wants to reactivate WoW today to earn some gold with housing? Should they specialize in a specific old expansion content? Well, put it this way, like there is enough recipes in the game that it's kind of not feasible for you to keep everything in stock from all of the professions. So I would quite simply, you have two choices to make. Either you pick one profession on one character, and you get all of the decor recipes, level up all of the professions on that one profession. That will give you 10, 12 different decor items you can craft. It will also mean you will have to do a bit of a world tour to pick up lumber, but you won't have to spend too much time in each zone, right? You might only need 50, 75 lumber from each expansion to craft one of everything. That is a lot more manageable, a lot more easy to do. It only requires you the one single character to be able to do it. Your alternative option is to, instead of focusing on one profession, focus on one lumber type or one expansion's lumber. Get really good at farming the lumber in that continent, and then you are going to need probably then 4 different characters, because what you're going to want to do is have all 8 crafting professions for that expansion that uses that type of lumber, so that you can specialize in that lumber type and create all the items that that lumber type makes instead. Requires a little bit more characters, it requires a little bit more profession setup, but it allows you to just farm in one zone, and just get better at farming that one expansion's lumber. So whichever way you choose to do it, you'll probably get similar results. Even though I have access to all of the professions, all of the recipes from every expansion, I'm probably going to look at doing something similar. I'll probably just focus on one expansion's worth of... Actually, getting really good at farming Outland is probably a really good play, because Outland lumber then gets also converted into Warlords of Draenor lumber. So you get really good at farming Outland. You find the best the best routes to get the most lumber in Outland, and then that actually gives you 2 expansions worth of crafts. But if I come up with that idea, think how many other people might also come up with that idea. Outland's a bit rough to farm at the moment, too many people there. You see, this is the thing. This is what you'll also come up against, right? If you do the thing that everybody else is also doing, then it's not very efficient. Often the best thing to do is to be doing the thing that the least people are doing. Standard goal making there, really. Did I not pick up the materials to do any of these? Hang on. I'm spending far too much time chatting. Did I not even buy the materials? I don't think I did I? Even on a big server like Draenor, I'm finding that I can probably, if I wanted to, I could sell the decor faster than I can farm it right now. Even focusing on a couple of professions. So the going is good right now. You can, as much time as you spend farming, there's a buffer you have to build up to begin with. You know, you might go your first 5 or 6 hours of farming lumber and crafting items, and you might not really sell much of it, and it can get a little bit disheartening when that happens. But that's because you need to build up a bit of a buffer of crafted items. Once you've got a bit of a buffer on the go, then you'll be able to come along. Look, we've sold another enchanting rod. Look, we don't sell things very frequently, but as long as we've got 25, 26 items for sale, we only need to sell one of those to keep a steady drip feed of sales, you know. Also depends on what sells, so don't sink all of your time into one type of lumber. Well, this is what we will start to get better data on soon. My focus at the beginning, while it's all a little bit the Wild West, is just trying to make sure that I can keep one of each item crafted. And of course, I can also then, when that item sells, hopefully have the materials to recraft it. And I will start to get some personal sales data of, you know, if I keep recrafting things that keep selling, then I know that they're popular, you know. Feels like selling transmog. Wonder if Student has a guide yet. I saw Student actually doing some farming of lumber as well yesterday. No surprise. But Student's got a very sophisticated setup for all of this. He's got multiple crafting characters with all of the professions on multiple servers and all this sort of stuff as well. So over the years, he's built a real good operation of trade. But like for now, I've got 25 items listed on the auction house. If once every 20 minutes, half an hour, I, you know, do a cancel scan on these to try and keep competitive on them, you get a little bit of a drip feed of stuff. And at the same time, or in between doing a little bit of auction house work, if you just run off the single account, you can be flying out, picking up some lumber you need to recraft the stuff that's sold. And you'll probably end up, you know, just chasing your tail, really. Going to the zones to craft the lumber for the things that have sold, to recraft them, that sort of thing. Pretty much exactly to what I'm doing here right now, to be honest. He's already made 4 videos about his routes to get lumber. Well, there we go. I have no sense of style of what looks good or what people might like. Well, that's where you can fall back on the data, can't you? You don't need to worry about that too much. You just, TSM will give you an indication at least of what's selling and what's not. Yeah, because I mean, I fall in the same category as you. I need 2 points to finish leatherworking. Then leatherworking is done forever and a day. You only get 1 book from a scribe. You only get 1 point from a scribe thing, don't you? I need to just go find leatherworking trainers. I need to go find leatherworking treasures. Let's go get some lumber from let's go get some lumber for this expansion and find 2 treasures at the same time.
Our miners had to leave their tools behind when the Nerubians attacked. Please retrieve
What I might do as well is log on with these guys. I need to check my auctions actually today. I wonder if... No. Let me get a few of the other accounts online. Made 4 mil so far. Sales are really going down. I'll stop crafting and focus on realm flipping. It's about time. When I sell all my stock, I'm done with housing. It's the same theory as like the start of an expansion, you know. If you get in early enough and you absolutely smash it for a few days at the beginning whilst the going's really good, you can then also peace out nice and quick. I'm intrigued to just see how far the markets do go, because there's lots of reason for people to be grinding gold at the moment. The Longboy is in the store again. people are trying to build their houses, which might get a little bit expensive, even if they're not even if you're not buying, even not buying like crafted decor items at the moment. Just straight up vendor costs of buying a bunch of different decor could start to drain your wallet pretty quickly. So there's lots of reasons for people to be grinding gold. Not to mention there's a brand new expansion around the corner that people would probably like to pre-order. And even if they've bought with their cash money, even if they've cash moneyed their €50 pre-order, there are people that will see value in using a bit of gold and a bit of Blizzard balance to upgrade it to an epic edition, maybe to get early access for free, or that sort of thing. I've had good sales today compared to yesterday. Well, decor's one of those things that does also fit far more nicely into the more casual friendly gameplay loop, right? Meaning the weekend could be the first time where a lot of people have actually had the opportunity to sit down and play with stuff. Weekend does tend to bring not always more sales, but from a different category of people. If you're making huge amounts of sales on a Thursday afternoon, you're probably not selling to the employed at that point, are you really? if we're going to be brutally honest about things, pick a little bit stereotypical mind, but if you're selling a huge amount on a Tuesday morning, you're probably selling it to people that are either playing whilst they should be working, or has an unusual life situation. Sold far less early on, but got some big sales. Now I'm selling, but selling a lot more volume. Yeah, I don't think people should be too worried about pushing the prices down. I think that 1 or 2 knowledge points. 1, I need the other one. I don't think people should be too worried about pushing prices down, because, to be brutally honest at the moment, like, the prices that are being charged for lumber are really nice, don't get me wrong, but they are ludicrous. By all standards, they're ludicrous.
It is an excellent day for a race. Come fly with us.
When you do the simple maths on just what 1,000 gold per lumber actually equates to, by the time you figure out how to farm 200 of it an hour, 200,000 gold an hour farming doesn't last that long. Doesn't last that long before the market starts to get saturated, because fucking everybody would love themselves 200,000 gold an hour, Not many people are going to turn that opportunity down. Hence why every man and their dog has been chopping trees the last few days. But yeah, I know from, historically, people start to get bored when it dips below. People start to get bored when it dips below 50,000 gold an hour. And if it drops below 30, there's a lot of people that just straight give up at that point. But you will also have an awful lot of people that will be so hungry for the gold right now, because of aforementioned reasons. Long boys and expansions and tokens to buy. That you might even see people continue to farm and craft decor, way down into the 10 to 15,000 gold an hour range. One thing I've learned from this game over the years is there is always somebody out there that's more desperate for the gold than you are. And there's always somebody that's willing to work harder than you are. The Auction House PvP is kind of brutal at the moment. Feeling crafters' frustrations on cancel scanning is increasing. Yeah. I'm a veteran. I cancel scanned 18 hours a day through flipping Shadowlands. This is fucking light work. This is easy business, mate. This is a walk in the park. The funny thing is, as well, is that you don't, like, this is exactly the same scenario as Shadowlands Legendaries as well. That you don't actually need to be the first in the queue. You see this so frequently. I can guarantee there'll be a thread on WoW Economy complaining about cancel scanning right now. And the reality is you don't technically need your item. You don't need to cancel scan decor particularly frequently, because as long as you are not undercutting by any value, you don't strictly need to be the one at the top of the list. Now, sure, much like Google search results, it helps being at the top, but as long as you're in the top 3, you'll still get people that go, oh, those are the same price, click, buy. Because it's an individual listed item. It's not a queue-based system like commodities are. But people kind of ignore the nuances. Beast Decor doesn't have big deposit costs. That's true, it's like a silver a piece or something, isn't it? It's nothing. You don't want to cancel scan, just undercut. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I have never ever been one of those who proclaims that you should never undercut. Undercutting is incredibly powerful a tool for selling shit. And there is absolutely no denying that it does increase the likelihood of you selling your item. Mathematically factual. That's not even an opinion. Like, if you post your shit at a cheaper price, there is a higher chance it will sell. Fact. Those telling you otherwise are actually more concerned about self-preservation of profits than they are actually selling stuff. Dirt pile. My graphic settings are too low. Ah, chickens! Look at all them chickens. Oh, that's the jewel crafting treasure. I don't want the jewel crafting treasure. I want my sturdy Nerubian carapace. Then I am done for leatherworking. For the wall within. Every node filled. If I want to get a third account just for the auction house, do I need to buy the wall within expansion? Nope. Nope. Just game time's enough. You only need the wall within if you want to be doing anything else with that account. I would say my general words of advice on this are that adding an account, you need a really good reason to add another account. Because if you intend to make... You need to do enough on that account for it to be self-sufficient. And with EU prices at the moment of like 400,000 gold for a token, that one account needs to generate you at least 400,000 gold more profit every 30 days to justify having it. At least. You preferably want at least double that to actually make it worth you doing.
Excavating here might be dangerous.
Which, in today's world, having an account solely dedicated to doing auction house stuff does really mean you need to have that character logged on, and you need to be doing 10, 20 million gold in revenue every month to really justify its existence. Unless you've got ludicrous profits for whatever you're doing, but 2 accounts is easy to have, and there's always use for having 2 accounts. Stepping up to 3 is kind of a bit of an oddity. Most people go from 2 up to 5. Five is obviously significantly more costly, but you start to be able to do things with 5 that you can't with any less amount. Especially if you're going like alt army kind of route. I mean, I clearly have 5 up and running. I know K-Chak goes even further and has like 10 or something, but I think K-Chak is running across... I think K-Chak has 5 set up for both EU and 5 for NA. And I think he even has more on top of that, to be honest. But he's got more gold than he knows what to do with, so it's fine. Once you get big into cross-realm flipping as well, 5 becomes very useful, because you can have 4 accounts up and running, relisting your auctions at the same time, which dramatically cuts down on the amount of time it takes you to relist everything. I can relist my auctions on every single account in the EU across 80. I can relist all auctions across 80 realms in just over an hour. If I'm streaming, it takes me longer than that because I just chat. But I can get all 80 realms relisted in about an hour when I actually try. Which there's no way I'd do that if I only had 1 or 2 accounts. Starter account that I used for Mop Remix. There's actually some, like, I actually found value earlier in the expansion on having an account that didn't have the War Within, because that means I was character capped at level 70, which is what I actually ended up using my Demon Hunter boosting character for. I have my 6th account deliberately doesn't have the War Within. And I would assume that when we move into Midnight, I will also deliberately not have Midnight on it, which will mean the character cap will then be 80. This was very handy for the Demon Hunter for boosting all of my other 4 accounts. Is how I got all 80 characters up to level 80 really fast. The use for having 3 or 4 accounts is very minimal. Like I said, this is why most people will go from 2 up to 5. That's the next point where there's like kind of good reason for having more. But you could be, you know, you could be dual druid farming on 2 and then a 3rd auction house account maybe, but it does become more difficult to justify account 3 and 4. Don't even post my transmogs at the moment because chopping trees is more profitable. Yeah, for whilst whilst it's 50k an hour plus, I can see that being the case, unless you've got so many good transmogs you're pulling in $1 million gold of sales a day. I'm also in the same boat. I need to relist all of my auctions, but I'm only making a couple of 100,000 gold every time I relist at the moment. Sales are a bit slower, but I'm also a bit less frequent with posting them. I need to do a little bit of that today, but I kind of want to wombo combo that with searching for some decor deals and doing some distributing some decor items maybe. But once again, I'm kind of talking about things I should be doing and I'm wasting time doing something I shouldn't be doing. Just gaining a knowledge point for leatherworking. But I'm getting some Dornic lumber at the same time. Everybody's a winner. Decor's too hot for market to ignore. Posting a bunch of transmogs takes up way too much time on multiple servers. Yeah, there's part of me that wonders just how heavily I'm going to push into decor flipping. I think it's a fun little adventure, but I also know it's going to be a very time-consuming adventure, but it could also be incredibly lucrative if the prices stay good for a while. I mean, if we see 10,000 gold decor sales for, even if it's only a couple of weeks, there starts to become a lot of value in hoovering up stock off the big servers and just distributing it around. Just because those who are actually out farming the lumber, crafting the things at the moment, are probably unlikely to be posting it on the lower pop realms. Because they themselves will not have the rate of sales that you get on the big servers to justify it. Meaning the lower pop servers might end up being quite scarce of naturally farmed for decor items. Deposited in my banks the normal stuff and just posting the decor at the moment. Posting the others seems like a waste of time. Yeah, I would agree with you if I was doing it on only a couple of realms. If I was like relisting and posting on like, you know, 5 to 10 realms, probably just banking everything and focusing on lumber is probably a good play. Because I've got myself spread out across every server, the time it would take just to put everything in the bank and then get it all back out again in a later date gives me a headache even thinking about it. So I do often forget just how long it takes to do anything on 80 different servers. Like, even something as simple as, like, changing a macro for, like, grouping up, or even giving each character access to the wallbank once a week is time-consuming when you're trying to do it on 80 different characters. Okay, how do we get the... I did violently underestimate the amount of time it would take to deal with all of this stuff when I set it all up, but... no such thing as a free lunch. How we doing? We're welcome, men. Happy Saturday too, yeah? Moving more away from farming my own. I'll do a little bit daily, but most of my stock is now just bought. Yeah, I think the opportunity for flipping is stronger. But of course, it's one of those that it requires you the capital to be able to do it. Most people don't want to pay the prices of the decor as it stands right now anyway. Never mind have a spare 10 mil to buy up items on the hope they can sell it for more somewhere else. Yay! Sturdy Nerubian carapace. There we go. The last remaining leatherworking knowledge point I need. Boom. The fact that there's no achievements for doing this also drives me bananas. Filling out an entire profession like leatherworking should come with not only an achievement, but a feat of strength. Right. That technically means I never need to do a work order on this character again unless I want to. Yeah, either a lot of my auctions are now starting to dip below my predefined price, or not much cancel scanning is going on. Don't believe it's the latter. Do I need much more of this Dornic lumber? Can't remember. No, technically I don't need any more. I need to go do some bamboo lumber farming. Bamboo lumber, that sounds like Pandaria, right? That sounds panda-ish. The question is do I hop onto my druid to go and do it? Probably. As I don't get too distracted by picking up ghost iron ore. Right, what do I need? 139 bamboo lumber. Bamboo's not even lumber. It is considered a plant, isn't it? Not a wood, I think. Experience in flipping helps avoiding risks too, and without a cross-realm auction house setup, I would advise just farming and crafting. Yeah, I mean, the going's so good at the moment, just farming and crafting, that it's hard to suggest much else to people, really. Right, we need to go to Mopland. Where's Mopland? Pandaria. Where do we think is going to be a good, cheeky... Karasang Wilds, like this kind of area feels like it's got potential to be like crazy good. Lots of trees going on. Probably a good little circuit, a good little lap you can do maybe. Let's head down that way and just see. Maybe I can find a Zygor farming route to sort of semi-follow. Just so there's a path to follow, if nothing else. You need a bit of capital to get the cross-realm going at a substantial rate. Yeah, this is the thing. Starting that system off with decor right now feels a bit risky. You kind of want to have already got the you know, the infrastructure in place. Jade Forest is clearly upstairs. Because yeah, the amount of you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're posting like 2 pieces of decor on one server. At that point, it's, you know, barely worth the time to log in and log out and do the thing. I tend to find the cross-realm flipping starts to get a little bit difficult to justify if you're not posting at least like 20 or 30 items on each realm. Now, if you were to try and replicate that with flipped decor items, you are going to need to find yourself an awful lot of bargains. Out of curiosity, does this character even have ghost iron mining? It got me 1. I don't think I've even got Pandaria herbing and mining on this character. Yeah, I don't even have Pandaria herbing and mining. Maybe we, like I said, I don't particularly want to start picking up. Really want to start picking up too much other stuff. I've just gone on a whole TED talk about saying how picking up herbs and ore at the moment is actually a waste of time. not just a waste of time, but negatively affecting your gold per hour, because you should just be picking up lumber. But I at least want to learn fashions and mining. Spent at least 3 million just buying chairs. Yeah, the IKEA setups that some people are going to have is going to be pretty funny in a few days.
Welcome.
Under mining.
There is no hurry.
Is Panda Herbalism right here?
Tell me
Good.
of your travels.
Right, at least we've got
I
the
hope to see you again soon.
skills now. Right, time to get a bunch of bamboo lumber. What is this? Isn't it Saturday? It is. All of my plans went out the window today, though. All of my plans went completely out the window when I realised it's Independence Day in Finland today, which inadvertently means there's not a single shop open. So my scheduled Christmas shopping today failed. Time to watch 3 hours of handshakes in the evening? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Non-Finns will not understand. I usually go through an entire bottle of wine watching people shake hands. That's how I celebrate Finland's independence. Get absolutely bladdered. For non-Finns out there, on Independence Day in Finland, there is the President's Ball, where the President will, invites a few hundred people who will have a bit of a dinner party. And it's all televised. And everybody puts on their schmocks and frocks, gets all glammed up, gets to get greeted in by the President. Gets his balls out. Wow. Handshake watching stream with commentary. It's funny because it's so easy. Like if I've been with the family at any point, it gets everybody just gets really judgy about people's appearance. It's really funny. Oh, what is she wearing? Oh, doesn't he look gorgeous? You can't wear that to a ball. You can see her nipples. All sorts of silliness. Europe, guys, it's different. They have culture. Why is me TSM list not going down? Oh no. I'm only following this line just because it's a line to follow. Oh, has Gathermate had an update yet? Has Gathermate had an update? Is there anything out there that actually tracks lumber spawns yet? Seems like such a dumb, easy add-on to probably put together. I can't believe Gathermate wouldn't have updated to support lumber. 11.2. No, Gathermate's still not being updated. Somebody needs to fix this for me. We need an active lumber fart tracking add-on. She was doing stretches. I thought you might want to see the stretches, but now she's stopped stretching. Now she's just chilling. Where's the other one? Below is still under the chair, look. You can see 4 legs. Day 342 of lumberjacking. The trees have started to whisper to me, please stop killing our children. I can't, I'm sorry. How much do you track an hour? Or do you... No, just like how Gathermate works. How it just like tracks where the nodes are on the map. And then you can combo that with the routes add-on in order to start optimizing your route. Until you can track the nodes on the map, it starts to be difficult to track where a sensible route is. This is Zygor doing this right now. This is just Zygor. This is clearly not a very good route to follow, but this is just one of Zygor's like mining, leveling routes. Just so I've got a line to follow on the map, even if it's not particularly great for lumber. It's a line to follow. There's my Alemba lumber. There's me bamboo lumber. Do a quick cancel scan actually. Not done one for a while, and we've also not had a sale in a while. Yeah, we're starting to not cancel much, which gives me a hint that prices are getting spicy. Fine. Long time no see due to streaming schedule. Welcome in, Booker. I've really wanted to be doing some extracurricular streams. It's just fitting them in. I find it so difficult to find time to fit in evening streams, which would be far more advantageous for many, I'm aware. The difficulty I have is there's usually a lot going on in the evening. actually clear everything off the map, maybe I'll get to a point where there's not that much spawned on the map. Druid is super OP for this though. And I definitely like the new vigor changes for the purpose of farming as well. You can 100% completely switch your brain off about any form of like need to control your vigor now, because you just don't. I'm permanently sat on six charges. I genuinely can't use my vigor fast enough on a druid. Interact keybind, light form keybind. I was really clever. I'd bind them both to the mouse to make the thing even easier. Yeah, Druid is absolutely best in slot for this. There's often a lot of people that sort of talk about other classes for various reasons, but I've never really, like, sure, I can see some justification in very small extremes. You know, stacking an extra tiny bit of perception if null stones are 5,000 gold apiece, for example. Yeah, that might kinda justify another class, but I mean, for just general all-round utility, you absolutely can't beat the druids. Why does the War Within lumber seem to have the lowest gold value, given that it's my own observation and today's data update seems to suggest the gap is getting smaller? It's a good question. You would partly assume that the War Within one would be the most flooded of the markets because every man and their dog doing anything. Well, look at it this way. If you are spending time in the War Within zones at the moment, that is probably because your focus is in no way, shape or form on housing or decor. Which probably just means it is actually being farmed, used, and consumed the least. I don't know. Crafting skill? Maybe. Oh, hang on. You were questioning why it's the lowest of value. I misunderstood that. Oh, well, yeah. If it's the lowest of value, it's quite self-explanatory, isn't it? Because the argument is it probably does have just quite simply the most people in the zone. I know for a fact the very first thing I did was went and farmed some War Within lumber. And I have every profession from every expansion leveled up on, you know, I have all opportunities open to me. But my argument, I think, still probably stands true that if you're out in the War Within zones right now, you're probably not that focused on decor. Because if you were, you probably wouldn't be there. But it'll definitely be the most, oh, I've accidentally got 50 of this lumber, or I can craft something with it, sort of lumber. you're not going to accidentally have too much, you know, Shadowlands lumber lying about, are you? The War Within is the one that you can't dual druid without having the expansion on each account. Also true. Lots of factors at play. Who knows? Who knows? Historically, anything that is current content ends up being the most saturated of markets because it's current. In the schemes of things, multi-boxes make up like 1% of all gathering, though. Huge minority. Yeah, I mean, you're already very, very, very specialist if you're even doing it on 2 druids. Like, you're a minority within a minority at that point. Oh, that's not a thing. Yo, double axes! The fact that that can even happen is interesting. The fact that you can get 2 axes. I am in love with this spot. I am in love with that spot. Quick, get some characters here. Chat, take note. Here. That's the spot. Noting it down in the bug report window. Fuck off, Loot Fever. We'll have none of that. Right, well, now I think I know where my Panda AFK farmers are going to stand. There's part of me that might set that up now. Because that's clearly going to be a good spot. You can stand in one location and hit 2 axes. Double the spawn chance location. Where am I? I'm in Pandaland, aren't I? So we need Lumberjacks, Isle of Dawn, Anaran Plains, Oribos, Zundazar, Azuna is Legion. What comes before Legion? Warlords of Draenor. What comes before Warlords of Draenor? Oh, there is no Warlords of Draenor wood, is there? So, right, you go over to Pandaland. The Lumberjack Team 2, you going to Pandaland. And Hide a Sausage is also going over to Pandaland. These dudes need a hammer. Actually, no, don't go to Pandaland first, then use the housing thing. Oh, fucking keybinds. Aerial halt, piss off. Second wind up there. Surge forward, flap up, do spinny thing. One forward, 2 up, 3 zoomies, 5 extra stuff. They're my buttons. Yep. Where's the... What the fuck is going on with this UI? Where was it? Shit, I've lost it. Let's go there. One is up for me because I don't press it. I use the space bar instead. Oh, yeah, I don't use the space bar. I actually use the go up button. Surge forward, second win. What I don't understand is why even though the order seems to have been reset, the order seems to be in a different... Seems to be random on every flipping character again. I think it's that one I went to before. No, I don't have an axe on any of these characters yet. But what I'm... Oh, flipping hell. What I'm hoping to do is utilize the fact that the teleport to your house button has a return you to where you were button as well. So not only is it a very powerful Hearthstone, it's also a very powerful quickly go to your house and then quickly get back to wherever you were button. Kind of like the scroll thing in Remix, which is very OP, very useful for once. Nostwin, yeah, that's the one. That's the word I'm looking for. Nostwin's voucher. I might just fly there manually on this dude. The other three are flying there automatically. Where am I going? The others are going around here somewhere, aren't they? Oh, I don't have Zygo open on this account. Roughly in the same direction. Ran BRD yesterday 30 times. What? Oh, are you running? Does the end boss drop a piece of deck or something you're after? I see, I see. Yeah, housing has turned up, and it's another one of those things that it feels very, very, very much like the people who are super keen on housing have probably been tinkering with it a bunch on beta, PTR, that sort of stuff ahead of time as well. And an awful lot of those people probably know the design they want. They've been able to play with it within a sort of a sandbox environment up until this point. And clearly, and I mean absolutely clearly, want to be able to just build their house in one day and call it a day. I've seen so much of this knocking about already. It's kind of really surprising. Right, I ain't got a fucking clue where I'm going at this point. Where was I up here? Over here somewhere. It's this tree. This tree seems to have double nodes. Right, where did you end up? Now, whilst it does have double nodes, that doesn't necessarily mean it has a good respawn. But at least it's been an excuse to get these dudes out here. I now need them to do teleport to the plot, grab an axe, teleport back out. And hopefully the return to location thing doesn't fuck up. As you can see, I have done nothing to my house. Oh, some people have been doing shit though. Some people have been testing, playing. I like. I said I'd wait till Monday to go and do a bit of a world tour and see what people have been doing. Plenty of the plots have been taken. People have been doing some stuff for sure. No refunds might end up being the richest guild, but half of us being goblins are also spending all our time farming lumber right now. Right. Return to previous location. Please fucking work. Please work. How are you pricing deco at the moment? Already switched to DB region sale average? For when I start flipping, I will, yeah. But for up until that point, I'm still just using crafting cost. Yes, it takes me back to where we are. Good. Takes me home, as they say. Ain't touched it since I put it down. Yeah. Richest guild with the poor wooden shacks. Yep. Yep. Bunch of millionaires living in sheds. Where's the city place gone? There it is. I got bored farming decor, to be honest. Switched to some crafts which could give good gold per hour. I mean, some people I've seen have been going real ham the last few days farming lumber, so I'm not surprised some people are like getting cooked on it. If you've got other weapons in your arsenal that can also make you gold as well, don't forget about them. I should have done these two at a time and used the Drake mount, but I literally have the 2-person mount as my default mount on these characters for that exact reason, but I'm clearly not thinking. I'm going to have a real crisis on my hands, though, when it comes to the Alliance zone, because I don't know the Alliance one at all. Right, okay. We should now... Oh my god, there's three on this tree. It's going to require a little bit of moving to hit all 3 of them. But there's 3 possible spawns on this one tree, which is not bad going at all, is it really? Now the question is are they all sharded onto the same shard? Sort of. Sort of. Not ideal. There also appears to be a few more wood spots around here, but we can have like 3 nodes, 1 tree. Definitely limits the move in. And actually, by the looks of things, all 4 of these oh no, 3 of the bonus accounts are on different shards. Yeah, 2 of these are somehow on the same shard, but my groups are never hyper optimal. I flip and craft, so use exactly the middle ground. Doing average of X times the lumber value and the DB region sale average. No wood in Zereth Mortis, by the way. None! That's interesting. Zereth Mortis is full of trees. I wonder if that's going to be the case. I've not explored thoroughly, but I wonder if it'll end up being that, like, you know, expansions bonus zones might not have had lumber put in them. It might only be like default zones. I don't know. I've really not spent enough time figuring it out. See, this one's already respawned again, look. There's a good chance an interact key would hit these without moving. Mythic Plus Dungeon reward portals are very handy to teleport to Bastion, for example. Makes travel much faster. Yeah. Yeah, portals could be clutch in that regard. Now it's spawned on this side of the tree. Okay, we're going to be circling the tree a little bit, but... one of those, you might be able to hug the tree real tight and tag all of them, maybe. They appear to have reduced the cooldown duration on the Warband Bank. It was 8 hours, now it's 2 hours. There's actually a way that it reduces. I can't remember if it's based upon the amount of ults you've leveled or something like that. I've had it at 2 hours for ages. Can't remember how it's reduced. There is a way to reduce it. Bonus stream, welcome into leader. Happy Independence Day. This is the only reason I am streaming today, because I completely forgot it was Independence Day. I had planned to do all my Christmas shopping today. Not the case. Not going to happen when all the stores are shut. So we will stream instead. We will farm lumber. Christmas is cancelled. No Christmas this year. At least no Christmas tree. The lumber's needed for crafting. Yeah, sacrificial Christmas trees all over the place at the moment. Many a sacrificial Christmas tree. Still checking the lumber amount used in crafts, because I can expect a price drop faster if the sale average is way above the lumber value. I was looking at this not too mathematically yesterday, but just very generalized, and I tended to notice a weird pattern that the items that take the most amount of lumber seem to often have the lowest per lumber value, whereas you would see, and this is probably because they then hold the highest value. The items that take like 8 to 12 lumber a piece, you can often see selling for like 2,000 gold per lumber, whereas your big tables and beds and shit like that are using 45, 50 lumber, you might only sell for like 30, 35,000 gold, so you're getting like way less per point of lumber for those. It's only very anecdotal, but if you're really hyper optimizing the amount per lumber item, the smaller, cheaper things that are still selling, you know, because it clearly seems to be that people will spend, you know, people will spend 15 to 20,000 gold on something far more comfortably than they'll spend 50,000 gold on something. This is what it looks like. Most high lumbers are one-off. Well, yeah, and that probably. The fact that, you know, people might buy one bed, but they might buy, you know, 14 shelves. This is why I think that, at least for now, pricing based upon lumber usage is certainly not a bad idea. As lumber is clearly the limiting factor. But eventually, you might have to sacrifice the value in some of your lumber in order to keep the sales and the revenue flowing. And then just, or maybe just don't bother crafting big beds and big bookcases that take huge amounts and just focus on what will clearly end up being mass bought items. The Walmart approach. Stack it high, sell it cheap, but on things that you know people are going to buy in bulk. You know, like little decorative things. Doesn't seem to be much logic to how cool an item looks and the crafting cost. Yeah, probably not much consideration on that, even from the Blizzard devs. Probably mostly a case of, okay, this is a big item needs more lumber. That's probably about as much as the thinking was. The amount of lumber, anything greater than 0 needed for crafting a pillow and other illogical lumber needs. It is a bit odd sometimes that you need lumber to make something that's clearly not made of wood. But somebody mentioned earlier an idea that could be kind of quite cool if they had made maybe less lumber needed per craft, but then maybe woven in some like rare lumber items, like gemstones or something like that, that they could also use on some maybe deliberately higher tier items. You're okay with your food being made of wood, yeah. Yeah, you can understand why it's a thing from a design perspective, but it is also a touch odd, isn't it? My zoom seems to reset itself. How can I tell it to stop doing that? Is that a... Is that zoom going to be a add-on option? Orders button, clock. Auto zoom out delay. If you zoom into the map, this feature will automatically zoom out after the selected period. Using a value of 0 will disable. 0. Deliberately want it zoomed in. And I don't want you to piss about with it. We hug the tree hard enough to see how far can we interact with it from. Oh, we need to be closer. Right. We're going to dance around the tree a little bit, but... The mini-map should give us the heads up if the lumber's on the other side of the tree. One of the fountains uses blood of Sargeras. Yeah, double bind on pickup. Double bind on pickup materials is kind of crazy. Isn't that the fountain that has a piece of decor item needed to craft it in the first place? Like it's like a decor needed to make decor kind of thing, right? Is that the one? So there's you know, nested decor in something else crafted. Kind of fun. Oh, that's the inscription table, is it? I spotted that yesterday and thought, oh, that's both clever and clearly going to be annoying. Yo! Oh, I've already got it. Ah. I kill those things on sight and always have. But turns out I've got it. Because it's Miss a Pandaria. I probably have not needed this since Mop Remix, actually, thinking about it. I just still kill those things on sight as force of habit. You should do a week or a notification ping on the last tune you get lumber on when it's collected the lumber. The cast time is so long, sometimes I fail to loot on the last tune. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's also not a terrible idea, although, dare I say, I'm trying to not find more uses to use weak auras right now, unfortunately. Trying to find less reasons. I don't have my grouping and ungrouping keybound, though, almost deliberately for that reason. So that I actually wait till the last person has done their thing before ungrouping. you tracking how much gold you've made with housing? Not really. I have Journalator up and running on the account that's selling it. I've also got TSM running on the account that's selling it, so it wouldn't be impossible for me to track, but I'm not paying a huge amount of detail to it. I've not made a lot, honestly. Like, I mean, there are people out there that have made 3 or 4, 5, 10 times what I have, honestly. And that's mostly because I've not spent a huge amount of time actually farming the lumber. So I don't have a huge amount of decor actually crafted. And in turn, trying to then go out and sell it on the biggest server in the EU is probably meaning that I'm getting less sales because of that, because I'm also not cancel scanning. I know I'm not going to do too much of the farming though, so we'll start buying up the cheap stuff soon and distributing it. There's a leather carpet you can't craft at the moment because it needs a removed material. Yeah, the gaunt sinew. Just a bit of an oversight by Blizzard on that one. Shout out to Woo for Easy Party, thanks. Yeah, it's good. I like Easy Party. It feels a bit. It feels that there's an element of cheekiness about the fact that we found an add-on that sort of did what we wanted to do and was then able to take strong influence from that. And Woo has taken some time out of his day to make a more goblin customized one that does more of exactly what we want. That's how all good things are created, isn't it? Take influence from something that kind of does what you want and then build on it. Yes, it's very handy for those who use multiple accounts. I need to do a little count on the lumber in a minute as well. See how much we got. 89, 90. Well, I need 140 minimum. $140 minimum. I don't need to worry too much about what these bonus accounts have got. These can start just stacking up spares the next craft session. Next set of professions I look at. Brillium ore is probably worth picking up right now, but anything else probably not so much. I haven't set up a dedicated channel for just like showcasing housing and stuff. There's the screenshots channel. It's probably the ideal place, or closest to ideal place. That or Star Schmucks. Because pretty much anything goes in there. You spent some time building, have you? Making things look beautiful. Just getting started. And there's a few people that have been hard at work for sure. Feels really bad picking up all these lumber nodes and not having an add-on that's tracking their location. I really do hope. Spirit Bear. I really do hope Gathermate does get an update. There's part of me that has thought about like every time an expansion comes out, I wish and yearn for an add-on that is well, basically I just want Gathermate to update as fast as humanly possible every time. But it doesn't often get done. It's another one of those scenarios where part of me has thought about commissioning an alternative, much like Wu did with Easy Party, to be something that I have a touch more control over it to be updated when needed. But just simple tracking of nodes on the map. Because I don't think Handy Notes does that sort of thing automatically. I don't think there's a way to set Handy Notes to automatically track things. You can do custom pinpoints on Handy Notes, but I don't think there's much. That's exactly what I want. Loot Fever, he's talking at you. Loot Fever's been very good with the weak auras. Very useful. I know there's, you know, I'm aware that weak auras is basically a mini add-on creator in disguise anyway. I was thinking these little islands were going to be a gold mine for lumber, but maybe not. Whoa, pigeon, chill. Has anybody noticed when farming lumber actually that, or if large amount of people also in the same zone has much of a knock-on effect? Or is there lumber in so many different zones that there isn't too much traffic, should I say? I've not really on my travels come across that many other people. Certainly not enough for me to think, oh, they're stealing all of the nodes. Outland isn't great. Is Outland busy, is it? Is Outland maybe busy because one, it does 2 different types of ore. 2 different types, it covers 2 expansions. And there's a possibility that the zones are not great for lumber in the first place, right? Outlands never was very good for mining and herbing. Respawn of the lumber's basically instant, no problem if others are farming. The only bad thing is if a node despawns while you're looting it. Yeah. I haven't looked at remix transfers today, but they were definitely disabled yesterday. Because I'm not going to lie, as soon as they open them up again, I am sort of maybe possibly tempted to quickly spin up a druid army and take half hour. And just port them to retail. But I'm already at the point where I'm not sure for how long I will sustain doing this. Sanity levels will get in the way pretty quick, I reckon. And 12. Where are we going to go next? Once we've got our bamboo lumber. Cold wind lumber, 60. Cold wind lumber's wrath, right? The interesting thing for me about the lumber rates discussion is that wasn't lumber in wrath like significantly easier to get on the first couple of days, and it seems to have been hotfixed now to be in line with everything else? What I'd heard. If that's the case, it might be a greater indication that Blizzard themselves are more than happy with the rates and don't really want people getting lots of it too quickly. Seems so. We'll probably get more lumber with 2 druids than 1+4 camping. Yeah, probably. Probably. The strength for me of this setup will be when I actually log on different druids from different expansions, so that I can actually be hitting 5 expansions at the same time. Because when I've got a list like this where I need stuff from all of the different expansions,
Let's make sweet, sweet profit together.
if like one could be getting Northrend lumber, one could be getting some other lumber, so on and so on. Yo, Natty with the 56. Oh my god, I actually do think, I think you're in competition with Derp for the biggest number there. 56 is monstrous. Thank you very much. Hope you're having a good weekend. Happy Saturday to you. I don't think there's many numbers bigger than 56. Somebody mentioned Hive Mind to not attract attention. I just jump on an RP realm and then small circle, 3 or 4 node area. Yeah. This is why there's part of me that is thinking that I might spin up a bit of a druid thing. Because I know how to stay hidden. I know what I'm doing. The problem is I don't want to be like too heavily promoting it, because any form of multi-account simultaneous operation is always going to put people at risk. And I don't want to be seen to be advertising something that puts people's account at risk, if you know what I mean. Even though you're not doing anything wrong, which is the frustrating thing. Even though it's completely above board, but regardless of whether it is above board or not, there's no hiding the fact that other people take a disliking to it. Now I know how to stay hidden in the shadows, but how do you get the screens like that? I carefully put them in position. Wonder if you can set up a sound alert for lumber appearing. Maybe. It depends if it has an item ID. I would imagine it doesn't though, because you've not been able to do that sort of thing for like an OR node or something previously. Because people have definitely thought about that. Because it's sometimes camping like Trillium node spawning or something, people have wanted a weak aura to go off if there's like a rare version of a node that they're flying past, so they don't have to like mouse over the minimap all the time. But from people I've spoken to who know what they're talking about, there's no like API call or pull or anything that can be picked up on by an add-on. So it's not really been possible. I'll only use Windows, it's safer. I mean, that literally is Windows. It's a Windows tool. You're using Windows snapping feature. All Fancy Zones is doing is the normal snapping zones, right? It's only because I'm using 5 accounts. Normal Windows snapping can like give you, 4 side by side, a 3 and a 2, and all of that sort of stuff. Fancy Zones just allows you to make more snapping grids within Windows. That's why it's perfectly safe to use. At this point, Blizzard may ban people for just using Fancy Zones. They're very hard on multi-boxing, sure, very big risk. I mean, I really don't think it is. I mean, when you get to that granular level, they could start banning you for having a flipping spreadsheet open. It starts to get a bit... Where's the line? Oh, he's got calculator open. Ban him. How many are we up to? 132? Okay, I only need a little bit more. Only need a little bit more self-farmed. And then whatever the rest of these dudes pick up can just be thrown in the wallbank for the next craft session. Give us a head start on the next crafts. Found an add-on called Farm Bar. Lets you put mats on a bar so you can see how many you've collected. There was one I was using the other day. What was it called? It's gone. What was it I was using? Whatever it is, it's been switched off. Wasn't the plan. What was the one I was using the other day? Okay, shit, I can't find it. It straight up doesn't seem to be in my list anymore. How's that happen then? That's odd. Was I using it on the ETR or the beta or something? Gathering tracker. Oh, there it is, gathering tracker. I don't know why that's been switched off. Yeah, this was one I was using the other day. You can toggle on and off all the different things you want it to track and how much you've got. Apparently it can also do it within a party and group and stuff as well, which is what might make it handy if you've got multiple druids on the go. So it has a little interface that you can tinker with here. Full screen for a minute. Where is it? Filters, here we go. So you can go into each expansion's one and tell it to track the lumber. I think Persephone knows who makes this. She recommended it to me in chat the other day. And I said that the cost evaluation side of things was kind of pointless unless it had TSM's DB recent in. And then overnight it got updated to have TSM DB recent added to it. So she might have passed that feedback on. Now obviously that doesn't matter for the lumber because you can't sell it, but for the other materials you might be picking up on your farming. You can also track the current gold you've got, the session timer, how much bag space you've got left if you're farming, that sort of stuff. What's this one? 201. That's got to be a bag space thing. I don't want a bag space thing. No, what's this? 201 something. What else is it tracking? Where's that one come from? Yeah, you can go through all the different expansions, all the different materials, choose what you want it to track in this little list and what you don't want it to track. You can quickly use to change the filters. Shift left click reset session data. Is that this one? Ah, there we go. I guess this could be a replacement for your Mechanica tracking week or a two. Possibly, yeah. That's actually a good question. Does it track Mechanica? The wall within... Other... Art and Security, Ringing Deeps Ingots, Vials... Knowledge Points, stuff. It doesn't state to track it. Because it's not strictly a material in that regard, but it's one of those that this add-on seems to be straightforward enough to maybe add something to. Fun thing is that it's already being started to be updated for midnight stuff at least. At least we know it's an add-on author that is paying attention. Oh, custom filters? Yeah, I could do a custom filter for Mechanica in here as well. I'd probably need one in my bags to set the custom filter, but it is also something that could be done, I think. Okay, we're nearly there. A few more logs. Grab a few more logs. Don't want to spend all day in Pandaland. Have you seen the airship house? This player's airship home redesigned what housing can be? I haven't, no. Colour me intrigued. What's an airship house? Holy shit! It's just a single square room, and all of this is using their outdoor decor budget, clearly. Towley's neighborhood just got a jaw-dropping upgrade. One of his neighbors, Starwolf, has managed to build a fully floating airship. Not only that, their house is perched right on top of it. Community is stunned not only by the not just by the creativity of this build. What makes it more impressive is the technical challenge, actually lifting a house off the ground. It's possible, but it requires some clever placement tricks and a good bit of patience. Right. Starwolf placed the airship using Belomath's platforms for the deck, long leather-clad tables to shape out the undercarriage, Tauran vertical windmill mounted at the back as the ship's propeller. It's a bit of a shame there's only one image of it, but that's kind of crazy. That's pretty awesome. This is the kind of creative shit that people will come up with. Because, yeah, you could tell each one of these is like a table. It's very cool. There's a bug which allows you to lift houses above the ground. What will be sad is in a week's time when they hotfix a bug and it all just goes crashing and it's all like not in the right place anymore. But gamers will find ways of doing this. Is why I think Blizzard's best approach for housing is give players the tools to be creative and then just let people be free. Now I know they have to put some sort of limitations in place, but this is where I really hope Blizzard over time can, you know, lift the reins as much as possible. Now, you obviously don't want people to be able to place like an infinite amount of items because it would break shit, but the limits do seem very reserved at the moment. I guess it's a good way of doing it. I was a bit dubious when we found out we were going to have like a renown path for housing. I was like, oh god, here we go again. But at least it appears so far that if they can use it as a way to limit how much people can do at the start in order to like gauge like performance and stuff, I think it's fine. Do we know if we can collect more XP in reaching housing level 6, or will the XP be staggered? Well, I think by design, most of the XP is meant to come from the Endeavour system, which isn't going to go live until player housing launches with Midnight. Now, players are able to grind up to sort of level 5 now by basically collecting everything. But they have also capped how far you can go right now. I don't think you can actually reach level 6 yet. I think level 6 is locked off, isn't it? Hunting down them puppies. Well, one is very flopped here. She's chilling. The other one's having a good scratch in his bed. Gonna do a stretch for you. Oh, more flops. More flops. Okay, I think I am, for now at least, mostly done with Outland Panda Lumber. We got 145, that'll do me for now. Send that over to Crafting Toon. Cold Wind Lumber I should probably do next. Let's head over to Wrath. Let's head over to Wrath via the Warbank to deposit these goods. Leave these dudes out here collecting some panda lumber while we do it. Gathering Tracker used to be a weak aura, but too many people like me don't want to have 2 billion weak auras that should just be standalone add-ons. I was a slow mover on weak auras to begin with. As I got more and more comfortable with it, I got to the stage where I'd much rather it have been a weak aura than an add-on. Because I just was more comfortable with just quickly installing a weak aura than having to faff around with a curse client and download an add-on and do all of that business. But I can equally see the other side of that coin. Right, Cold Wind Lumber. Where do we think the best place in Northrend is going to be for lumber? Sholazar Basin has got to be a shout, surely. How do we get to that one? It's a Dalaran, but it's a which Dalaran? Is it this Dalaran? Crystal Song Forest Dalaran? It is, isn't it? That's Northrend. The other way around for me. I don't want an entire add-on if I can do it with just a quick week or yeah, it's. I mean, it's risky, obviously, putting all your eggs in one basket, because then if weak auras has a heart attack, which is the issue we're starting to see now, that everybody's got these little cool little bonuses that they've got weak auras for that are going to have to try and find an add-on alternative now. But yeah, it's one of those, what you can do. Right. I'm going to take a flight path, I think, down over to Sholazar Basin, because I'm pretty sure that's the go-to zone, isn't it, for lumber? It's got to be. Sholazar Basin, Grizzly Hills, maybe. Howling Fjord feels like it could be alright, possibly, but surely just doing laps in the basin has got to be the best lumber farm. I'm going to fly over there, quick bathroom break, stretch my legs, and I'll be back in 2. Alrighty. Oh, that looks like it was good timing, wasn't it? I've landed just as we get back. Perfecto. Wait, why am I on the screen? Why am I getting my ass beat? Yeah, we have both on the starting soon screen and the ad break screen. We have intro wars going on, so people do some fighting on the ad break screen as well. Designed to hopefully bring some entertainment while I'm AFK for a few minutes. I've also done the same thing, haven't I? I've just realised I don't think I picked up Northrend Gathering. In that case, we just go straight for lumber and nothing else, I guess, then. See how quick we can get these 60 lumbers we need. Oh, trees are going to be the bane of my life, believe it or not, though. Feels. I'd love to be able to change the colour of the lumber jacking icon on the trees, bright red or pink or something that can actually be seen. Yeah, the little yellow shiny thing sometimes blends in, doesn't it? That'll be another one of those things that'll probably, you know, an add-on. It'll fix that probably eventually, maybe, possibly. Enough people share the same opinion. Can't not hit the titanium vein. It feels bad because I haven't got the right skill to be herbing and mining out here, so I only got one piece of ore. But hello, bonus druid. Where's it gone? There it is. Right, this top withered area doesn't seem to be too good for the lumber. Maybe it's more densely down the bottom. Wow, I thought Sholazar Basin was not gonna be able to move for lumber. Might not be the case. Maybe maybe Grizzly Hills is the play. I mean, that said, I've still got 16 in 3 minutes. It's not exactly terrible. What's a good lumber per hour? I imagine people can probably get 200 an hour without too much stress. Pretty much all of them. What's considered good? I don't know. I'm, you know, it's one of those. If you like close your brain off to everything else and actually focus on it, you can probably get a couple of hundred in an hour easily, I reckon. Yeah, Coldwind Lumber definitely is now still mostly ones, the odd two, the odd three. No, it went away. Crystal Song. Crystal Song might not be too bad, actually. It's a bit of a sleeper zone, isn't it? People kind of forget that it even exists. Because the only time you go there is to go to Dalaran. $250 is easy doable. This is it. This is the thing. This is why when people turn around and tell me that, oh, people are 8-boxing and only getting 300 an hour, I'm like, well, then they're just doing it badly. And that considering most items to craft are like... And we already had this discussion earlier that like the items that take the smaller sort of more tinkery decorative items, your shelves and candles and that sort of stuff that are taking like 8 to 12 lumber each are the ones that you're getting the absolute highest value for each lumber from, and they're simultaneously flying off the shelves. Dual boxing getting 400 to 450. I can see that being a thing. Trouble for me is actually knowing which flipping tree is the one that's got the axe on it. 400 to 500 depending on the zone. Yeah, I tend to think that with a couple of druids just in tandem shouldn't be outrageous. Like I said, my suggestions to people over the last few days is like aim for 200. If you can do 200, you're doing fine. I mean, so far we've been here 7 minutes and I've got 32. It took me longer to fly out here. No. Disappointed that the mechanized lumber extractor doesn't actually let you extract lumber whilst mounted. Yeah, that would have been clever, like Sky Golem style. I mean, it's a good piece of feedback either way, actually. Kinda cool. No Gathermate data yet. No, I've been keeping my eyes on Gathermate for an update. It's not been updated yet, though. There is part of me that's tempted to take a little bit of a look at the code and ask ChatGPT to help me with it. Just because getting some maps, doing an hour, half an hour, even 20 minutes in a zone, a few laps in a zone, to start being able to get some maps of like where lumber's spawning will help plan out routes more efficiently. Because at the moment we're just kind of going by feels, you know. want to get 100 lumber out here. But I've got spawns on me other screens. Now, I don't particularly like extrapolating from such a small number, but in 10 minutes, we're looking at about 50 lumber. So, extrapolating out from that, that makes Sholazar Basin a 300 lumber an hour zone. And I have also seen other druids out here. $3,000 frozen orbs I got for 5 to 10 gold a paying off. That's a lot of frozen orbs. There was... I think frozen orbs are actually more to do with leveling profession, right? Than crafting decor. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it was more to do with, can't remember what profession. Maybe leatherworking? I don't remember. The only reason I say is because I vaguely remember being shocked at the price of frozen orbs not too long ago. And I can only think the reason would have been I was finishing off leveling something. Yeah, they can be exchanged for Eternals. You can also straight up just buy Eternals for 50 gold a piece, can't you? Because for years that was a real cheeky little flip, that one. When Eternals were like 70, 80 gold a piece, I'd just go buy them for 50 gold a piece. Flip them straight round, 30 gold profit, GG. Did that for years. It's kind of crazy how all of these little sneaky... Oh, look. Hunter's Dream. Hunters. This dude is rare as all hell. Any hunter want to tame a tiger? I spent years looking for that flipping thing. One of the OG spirit beasts. Right, I actually only needed 60 lumber from this zone, but doing much less than half an hour seems silly, because otherwise we end up spending more time travelling to different places than we do farming. So even we can put the spares in the wall bank. It's not like they won't get used. Flipping tree branches. Can't leave these axes unattended. Demon Steel bars are going up. Depends what your baseline is. It's so funny because there's been some people that have been squirreling materials away and intermediate items for so long now. Everybody seems to have a completely different idea of like what the value of something is. And it all depends on when they chose to buy a stack of them. I still can't really see most raw mats being too stripped out of the economy. And I do start to wonder when the people that have an entire guild bank of goodies, I wonder when they will start getting itchy to sell some of it. And will start throwing things back out on the markets in very large quantities without much thought for return on investment. Then again, it might just be that there is just a permanent stream of people buying like 3s and 4s and 5s of like small items. It's just a permanent stream. You know, if you leave a tap dripping, it doesn't take very long before your water bill is outrageous, you know? If there's just like a constant stream of a small amount of little things going on, then maybe it will actually add up eventually. But I'm not that convinced there's going to be a heavy shortage of really anything, to be honest. I think the places where we'll see the shortages are on the items that were kind of already a little bit expensive because they were kind of annoying to acquire in the first place. Your basic, easy to farm for raw materials, I don't really see going anywhere in value, honestly. Small Gilnean windmill, 187,000 gold. Go on. Oh, there's a sale. Oh, there's a sale. Is that on one of your flipping realms, Woo? I would imagine. Because that sounds like an incredibly spicy price. Even by today's standards. Making me think that's on a Lobby server somewhere. Somewhere where people are paying the price because there's not really many other options. Other than hopping on a tune on another big pop realm, but people don't do that apparently. It was a high pop, hence my surprise. Flipping hell. Good effort. Any more for any more? No, they're done. Okay, that's probably going to completely have skewed my tracking of yield for the hour, isn't it? Whoops. This is why up until this point I've not bothered trying to pay attention too much to optimize and put numbers to my farming times, because too many squirrels. If I'm doing this business on 4 other accounts at the same time, while it's not a lot of time, is chipping into what's going on the main account. that another one? Oh, was it just you didn't actually chop it properly? Draconic Scribe's Basin, an enchanting decor item that needs another decor item to craft it. Yeah, I spotted that one. Russian dolls. And I think the first is hang on. Somebody was saying inscription about that the other day. Is that the scribe one? Yeah, that was the scribe one. I think that the initial craft of that also uses Blood of Sargeras, which would make it double bubble on the you must farm it yourself material front. Is probably why that thing is like 70-80k a piece or something. First time in Oldham, way better than Hydril in Twilight Highlands. How are you doing Oldham? Are you just flying around the green bit in the middle? That's like your typical Whiptail and Cinderbloom farm. Surely the outside doesn't have any trees, right? Thoughts on items crafted with 10, 20, 30, 40 or 50 lumber? Best return on investment, on your opinion? It doesn't even seem to be an opinion. Items that are more decorative in nature and are using like between 10, between like 8 and 12 lumber seem to have the absolute highest return on investment, because not only are they things that are like cheap to make, meaning that their actual listing price right now is low compared to everything else. People are buying them in bulk as well. You're often seeing like 1,500 to 2,000 gold per piece of lumber value in those items, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, your big boy beds and stuff, which are going to be one-off purchases that use huge amounts of lumber, are already starting to see some downward pressure on price, because nobody wants to pay 50k for a bed. So I'd, yeah, if you're really limited on your farming time and really want to optimize what it is you're crafting, focus on the more decorative, multi-purchase kind of items. You know, shelves and fence posts and candles and that sort of stuff. These seem to be items that are doing pretty well. Your big boy beds and bookcases and stuff like that probably are not worth throwing your lumber at right now unless you're willing to farm a lot of lumber. Renadum grinder for 120k. I think I sold one of those yesterday as well. I think I sold one for like not that money. I think I sold one for about 50k, but I'm still on, by the looks of things, for over 200 lumber an hour in Sholazar Basin, with interruptions by tinkering with other things and squirrels afoot, which is good enough for me. The advantage of Sholazar Basin is it's just a big circle. It's easy. It's switch your brain off. You fly in a big circle, and by doing so, you end up accidentally covering most of the map as well. Grizzly Hills might be better, but it's probably going to be a little bit more of a wiggly route. Yeah, if you've gathered like 100 lumber, crafting like 10 things, maybe not 10 of the same thing, obviously, diversification will still help, but focusing on crafting things that use probably less than 20 lumber might help you when it comes to quickly getting some sales on those things. Plus, they might also end up being very good on a per lumber value. It's okay with Crystal Song, but the brightness was meh and the trees are so small. Click on the other side of the tree and be okay. Wow, good old interact button is your friend. Don't click on anything. Look roughly in the direction, press interact. And especially on the druid when you're not dismounting as well. Look at me optimizing my farming tactics. Flip it now. What has the world come to? Must be Christmas or something. There we go. 25 minutes, 100 lumber out here with me pissing around to do other things. So it's in excess of 200 lumber an hour without any form of real expertise. Be a druid, fly about, job done. Farming druid on a paladin because I can't be arsed leveling a druid. Oh, well, yeah, let me put it this way. If you have a druid, use it. Obviously, I wouldn't start far arsing about leveling a druid. That time you spend leveling a druid could be spent farming lumber right now. And without being able to quickly level one in Remix, transport it, you're better off just using any class. But put it on your to-do list because there's never a period in time where not having a druid is useful. I flipping despise the class generally. I don't like the gameplay loop of playing a druid, but if you're doing any sort of serious goal making, they are almost without question the best farming class. Whether it be just because you can just spam shit on a boomkin and everything dies. Whether it be the fact that you've got Guardian, Resto, got all three specs. So if you need to like do dungeon stuff at any point, gearing them up is then easy because of that. Guardian Druid is just like swipe, 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 kill. It's like really easy. Like I said, I don't particularly like the Druid class, but they've got so much versatility. Then are absolutely A tier, top tier for any form of gathering, farming, that sort of stuff. Every goal maker needs a Druid, even if they don't like them. This one's still only level 78. Yeah, speed sets on Druids, like, absolutely slap. Farming transmog or dungeons in general. So good. Need to have an axe on every character. At the moment, yeah. Although it does look like they're changing it. It's going to be a patch thing it'll happen in, but I don't know exactly when, but... Bit more juice on the tunes. I was keeping them mellow because it's cheesy background Christmas music. Clearly not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but... Farm Legion Lumber a few hours ago on my warrior, since I was also farming the Laystone Seam rank 3. Oh, well, yeah, if you've got a class that's been historically your farming character, then stick with them, but... Like I said, there's rarely a time where having a druid isn't a bonus, even if you don't like the class. Right, we've done half an hour out here. I might want to switch it up a little bit. More than enough lumber that we need for now. Where do we need? We need 60 fell-touched lumber. Is that Legion? That Legion? Are we going to do a lap of Legion stuff? Oh, hello. Right, let's put this in the wallbank.
My directive is to serve you.
Got all the mats in there, I'll just sell the mats. Yeah, another tip, put a flipping hatchet in your wallbank and just leave it there. That way you don't accidentally lose it to the wallbank all the time. Fallout vibes from the tunes. Christmas tunes, isn't it? Is Fell touched Legion? I'm going to assume Fell touched is Legion. How do we get to Legion? Zuna? Shadow Moon Lumber? It's Outlands again, right? Shadowland Lumber. We convert Lember Lumber to Shadow Moon Lumber, I think. That means I need twice as much Lember Lumber as I think I need. Where the hell is Legion? Azuna. Dalaran Hearthstone. Yeah, all that. All that. Whoops. Right, go. Gold touch, there we go. How many of this do I need? Once again, about 60. We'll probably do half hour out here again. To be fair, I know I was talking earlier about like more optimal ways to like deal with the fact that there's probably a little bit too much to like try and do everything, and that maybe sticking to one expansion and one lumber type would mean that you just get really good at that lumber type from a farming perspective. But the downside of that for me does make me think that you might actually go batshit insane. If all your lumber farming is done in one expansion's content, you might lose the plot. At least focusing on one or two professions and doing a bit of a world tour will mix it up, you know? Mix it up and mix it up. You been making much gold with the lumber farming or just stocking up? I mean, crafting and selling bits and pieces. I'm not overly competitive with fighting for sales at the moment. It's one of those that I could probably sit there and cancel scan and sell a whole bunch of stuff really, you know, in 20 minutes I could probably sell half of my inventory. But I would have to sit there cancel scanning my life away. Whereas I'd rather just let it sit there and hope for a few bonus sales in the background. But yeah. At the moment, you make as much gold as you're willing to put effort into farming the lumber right now, honestly. Those that are farming hard are making a lot of gold. Yeah, I almost don't want to play the auction house PvP side of things. I'm probably there's part of me that might just bundle up all of my decor items from Draenor and take them to some lowby ass level realm where there's fucking nobody there, and just post them all at 100k and just hope for a couple of wonder sales. That way I only need to sell one thing for 10 times the price, and I still win. Or you risk selling nothing, but, you know, eh. Some furniture's looking pretty pricey. It's more expensive than a lot of people probably would have assumed, but I also think most people's understanding of how gold works in this game is slacking. This has been another prime example for me of that most people don't have any desire to do any form of active gold making in the game, yet they are very quick to then also complain when anything is more than 10 gold. It's like, well, when there's a gold rush on, just take a couple of hours a day, do 2 hours of farming, craft a few pieces, and then spend 20 minutes focusing on selling it, and you'll be 100k richer. Like, you don't have to be doing it 15 hours a day, grinding it, making millions of gold. You could literally pay for a month of game time right now doing a couple of hours a day of farming lumber, crafting a few things, and then just sitting in the auction house for 20 minutes selling it. Like, it doesn't... If you do that, if you do a little bit of gold making when the gold rush is on, then you don't have to lose your absolute fucking mind when, you know, changes to transmog prices happen or something, you know, or a new expansion turns up and all of the enchants that you want to buy are far more expensive than you thought they would be. It's like, well, I don't know. This is where the token gives some people clearly false impressions of what's going on. That, you know, they're of the opinion that the token exists so you can just buy gold. But then at the same time, they're not willing to spend 20 bucks to buy the gold. They then also seem to expect that because you can buy gold, everything in the game should then magically somehow be cheaper. And I've never really understood that. Not willing to buy the gold. They're also not willing to do anything that makes them the gold. Yet there's also the expectation everything should be basically free. Because their perception of value is based upon the fact that they have no gold. when repairing your gear for 500 gold is expensive to you, then your perspective on the value of stuff is, I'm not going to take your opinion very seriously. I don't know. It's difficult to explain my point here without sounding like a bit of a dick, so maybe I'll stop, but... I always have my morning cup of coffee and farm. Makes me so much gold over time to throw on a stream. Yeah, that's how you do it. 20 minutes, half an hour of picking up herbs or something. Especially if you're doing that sort of stuff while you're, you know, waiting for all mates to turn up before you go do your Mythic Plus dungeons for the evening or whatever. Like... It's, whilst there are opportunities like this, which end up being like mini gold rushes, there is an element of just being a little bit consistent with doing something. And you don't have to do a lot. Genuinely don't have to do a lot. 20 minutes of farming, like, every other day, you'll be good, right? Oh my god, the nightmare's gonna eat me. Where does that put me? 20 minutes of farming whilst you're doing something else in the game that is waiting for somebody else. Why, like, people who are like very heavy into PvP, I'm always surprised why they don't have millions of gold. Because if you're waiting for arena queues, why are you not flying around picking up herbs while you're waiting for arena queues? Why are you dancing on a mailbox in the capital city whilst you're waiting for your arena queues to pop, or your dungeon battlegrounds to pop? Seems crazy that that's that those players are often flipping piss poor and end up buying tokens. Because it'd be so easy to not have to do that. So easy. Which EU server has the highest sell rate of decor? It'll be some of the big servers. Draenor, Kazakh, Silverboon. I would imagine Argent Dawn probably has an absolute ridiculous sale rate on decor at the moment, because it's the biggest RP realm. I would imagine. Shit's always going to sell faster on the bigger servers. But the trick there is getting yours to sell and not somebody else's. That's why the cancel scanning gets real grim on the big servers. People just fighting it out to keep their listings in front of others. Even though it's not necessarily always the one at the front of the queue that sells first. I pulled aggro? No, we're fine. This is why I need a little ant trail on my map to follow, because I'm just aimlessly flying around. Flying until I see a lumber node and then going and getting it. Whereas that kind of works, doesn't it? Same reason people sit in the city and spam 1, 2, 3 for summons. Maybe. Right, I'm giving people a pre-warning here. My stream is about to hit the 3 hours and 20-minute mark, which for the last 2 days, for some unknown reason, has caused OBS to crash and die and kill the stream. I have no idea if it's going to do the same, but if I randomly F in a minute, you know why. It's because my computer is being a bitch. I can't figure out why. Have to start taking some slightly more drastic actions if the PC is being a dick on a regular basis. We absolutely cannot go into an expansion launch with having my PC randomly turning itself off. That is not happening. The issue is I absolutely, at this time of the year, do not have the money to be buying a new PC. So I'm going to have to fix whatever the fuck it is that's causing the problem. Your PC cares about your health. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's like, oi, dickhead, get off the PC. Go, move. Go take those puppies for a walk. Forced work-life balance. I will decide what is healthy, computer, not you. That said, I can't stream for huge amounts today anyway. I know it's a Saturday and it's a chill day, but this is a bonus, unplanned stream in the first place. It's Independence Day in Finland, so I'm probably going to have a relaxing evening. Wife bought some nice lamb to cook for dinner, so I'll be in charge of dinner today as well. Few drinky poos, chill out, couple of dog walks, lovely stuff. Haha! Was that... Wait, hang on. Was that somebody on a jellyfish without... What mount was that? That wasn't the... That wasn't the hive mind mount, was it? It was a jellyfish mount, but it wasn't the hive mind one. Long time since undusting the fans. No. Like, I'm tech savvy enough to have absolutely covered all of the basics. It's not overheating. It's not that something's not seeded properly. It's not dusty fans. Trust me when I say I've done all of the tech geeky basic stuff. It's not a normal fault. It's not an easily diagnosed thing, which is why it's been going on for a week or two now. Because I'm at the point where I'm digging around in the BIOS, desperately trying to. For example, I have recently switched off all C-state control to ensure that my PC never goes into a low power idle state, because AMD processors are somewhat prone to crashing when they are given too little power, believe it or not. So I'm at the stage where I'm doing the geeky things. We've covered all the basics. I'm just desperately trying to not replace the graphics card, even though I am starting to more and more suspect that it is the graphics card. First off the production line 5080. You know, this is often the risk you take when you early adopt on a brand new product. Either the very first ones off the production runs are rock solid and will work for 2 decades without a hiccup, or they might have some early unforeseen faults to them. I'm hoping it's not the latter. Because to be brutally honest, I've pretty much 99% excluded software-related issues at this point. If it does keep doing it, I am actually genuinely tempted to just put my old graphics card back in and see if the problem goes away for a few days. If that's the case, I'll have to RMA my graphics card and get it exchanged. Don't want to be pissing around with that before Christmas. But I absolutely don't want to be pissing around with that before an expansion launch, so... yeah. Fun times, eh? Have you tried turning your PC back on and off again? Yeah, it fucking does that by itself. Damn thing. Does that without me asking it to. The only last one final thing I'm tempted to try before I do anything too serious is to get a UPS. It's still going to cost me a couple of €100, but I've been needing to get one for flipping ages. Now, I don't suspect my actual house power delivery to be the problem. I live in an old house, but I live in a building that's not technically the old house that's only been here for like 10 years, 15 years. Meaning the electrics in there should be pretty sound. But I can't completely unrule out the fact that it could be the power delivery when the PC's idling. Just for that millisecond, not providing it enough juice. UPS would help fix that. I think, at least. Who knows? Wow, look at all this flipping ore and stuff. Not a tree in sight, though. Suramar doesn't seem to be very good for trees. Surprisingly. Although we're still at 70-odd lumber with distractions in less than 20 minutes. So... even without following any sort of route, we're doing 200 lumber an hour again. This is the thing, right? I'm finding it hard to take seriously anybody that says that the farming of lumber is too bad. I'm like, well, 200 lumber an hour is pretty loads. If you're looking to craft your own decor items. No. Unless you want 20 of a single crafted item and you want it now, then, well, yeah, sure, but... the last final thing will be to offload the stream in its entirety to a second PC. Even if it's for, like, process of elimination. The annoying thing for me is that at the moment I don't have too much time outside of streaming for, like, sitting down and playing video games. Meaning, my only point of reference for this is while I'm streaming, which is when the computer is under the most load, because it's encoding the stream, it's like doing all sorts, right? Doing loads more when the stream's live. Is Puppy Cam not working? Hey, did you redeem Puppy Cam? Did it not switch on? Hey? Worked for me, it did. Oh. There you go. Yeah. I can manually turn it on and off. You weren't looking. It's actually possible if two people redeem it. in quick succession, it might quickly turn it on and then quickly turn it off again because of how it works. Did I not put a cooldown on the usage of puppy cam? I think it was meant to. Probably shouldn't stream for too long anyway. The puppies are awake again. They need to go out. Oh. Ha! I was about to say I should probably take them out before it gets dark. Too late. It's already dark. There's about 3 hours of light in this country at this time of the year. Dark hours ago. Yeah, I know. My schedule's, my brain's a little bit off tilt because A, it's Saturday. But B, I also didn't start the stream till an hour after I would have normally started a stream. So it's actually an hour later than my brain thinks it is. What are you woofing for, you pair? The big dogs are in the house today. But the puppies were with me. How far north do you live? Oh, I don't. I'm about as far south as you can get. I can sniff the sea from where I live. Alma, off the sofa, please. Off the sofa. Hey. Off the... Hey. Off the sofa. Don't trust you on the sofa. Hence why the sofa's got no flipping pillows on it at the moment. Doggo destruction is brewing. Yeah, I'm feeling they're getting energetic enough. Since they've been napping for a while, they probably need to go out anyway. I might finish my half hour on this little farm and then love you and leave you. Bears have got it figured out. They just sleep during these months. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. I'd love a good hibernation. Why don't humans hibernate? I mean, I did kind of do it to myself by moving to Finland, but like... It's not my fault your women are beautiful. Even the flipping men here are beautiful. There's no such thing as an ugly person in Finland. It's kind of crazy. I come from the land where you can't move for ugly people. Got under warranty. Feels like you only got it recently. Can you not complain? Yeah, my graphics card, I can get it RMA'd. It's under warranty, but it's just a big, fat, stinky annoyance to have to do it. Fortunately, where although I did buy it online and had it delivered, the location I bought it from, I mean, their name is Verkkokauppa, which is, you know... literally translates to like electronic store. They started off as just a web platform, but got very big very quickly and now have new stores and stuff. I can take it back to the store in Helsinki and probably just have it swapped on the spot. But I don't know what their policy is with graphics cards. This is the reason why I don't trust them on the sofa. Please hold. Right then, boys and girls. I am going to love you and leave you. I need to be a good human to my pups and take them out for a pee. I should stop playing video games all Saturday. Thank you for joining today. I appreciate the company. I know we haven't done much other than farm lumber, but that's what everybody's up to right now. I'll be back on Monday. I will probably take a little bit of time out of Monday, actually, to go and have a little bit of a look at who has been doing what player housing wise in the no refunds neighborhood, because hopefully after the weekend a few people will have had a bit more of an opportunity to do some fancy stuff, and I'm intrigued to see how creative how people can be. But enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Once again, thank you for turning up. I have no idea in any way, shape or form who's actually streaming on a Saturday. Is Elon streaming? Elon's streaming. Should we send you all over to Elon? That's a very logical place to send you all over. Team YouTube, I can't do any raiding on Team YouTube, so you'll have to navigate over and entertain yourselves from this point on. But thank you very much for joining in today. Team YouTube, we're going to go raid Elon, send him some love. I won't be able to hang around and say hi, so let him know I'm out watering the dogs, and I wish him well. But let's get a raid on Elon. He's been live a little while, and is he's dual boxing his druids. Okay, so you'll see a different perspective of my druid gathering. He's doing it 2s up. Right. Okay, let's get the raid on the go. Enjoy your weekend, boys and girls. I will see you Monday. Have a wonderful one, and thanks for everything. Peace.